Hey guys, and welcome to another recent viewing video. And this time around, I watched Ant-Man, the Marvel superhero movie, the most recent Marvel superhero movie at the time that I'm doing this, I'd say. Yeah. Well, anyway, let's address that really quick because I wanna make a point before I really even talk about the movie itself. I'm not a comic book super nerd. Like, I don't know everything that there is to know about comics in general, or Marvel in particular, or Ant-Man specifically. I know who the character is. I knew who he was in the past. Probably my first real exposure to him was the animated Avengers movie that came out about 10 years ago or so, that I feel like really centered more on the true and original Avengers team, which is not so much your Hulk, Captain America, Thor, you know, that group that we all know, Iron Man, but a slightly different group that included people like Ant-Man and the Wasp and Black Panther and some other characters. But when I watched that animated movie, I was like, okay, here's this guy and here's these different people. And then when the new Avengers movies came along a few years later, I was like, these are not the same people I remember from the animated movie. So I know that some liberties were taken and things were changed to create. I'm sure this Avengers team that we have in the newer movies was an Avengers team in the comics at some point. But my point is, I don't know much about these things. I pick little things out of the information that I consume from the internet, and I have this vision or whatever, this concept of the Marvel Universe, Avengers, and this character, and that group, and this thing. And it's very, what would you say, overwhelming for a guy like me. I'm a guy who, it doesn't take much to like fill my head up with so much stuff that it's like static or white noise. And the Marvel Universe and the comic books, like the comic book movies themselves, are just so, there's so much to it. It's overwhelming for a guy. And if you don't know a whole lot about Marvel and you can't keep all this stuff straight, it's almost painful. There's so much stuff going on in the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that a poor guy like me who wants to enjoy it and wants to get into it, I run into a wall when I just think to myself, God damn, how many more movies can they put out? And that was kind of what I thought when I saw Ant-Man. When I saw that Ant-Man was going to be made into a movie and that it was coming out, I thought to myself, really? Like, you took some top-tier characters like Iron Man and Thor and Captain America and Hulk, and then you put them in a group movie, and then you did some more separate movies, 3 Iron Man movies, 2 Captain Americas, 2 Thors at this point, the 1 Hulk, 2 Avengers movies, Guardians of the Galaxy, a group that I'd never heard of before that movie was announced, even though it was really good. Then you got Ant-Man. We're going to have Doctor Strange. We're going to have another Avengers, another Captain America. I think there's like 2 Avengers, another Captain America. I'm not sure about another Thor. For some fucking reason, they won't do another Hulk movie, which is just mind-bogglingly stupid. But I don't even know. I don't know what phase we're in. I don't know how many phases they're going to go. Obviously, they're going to tie all this stuff together, I think, and have most, if not all, of these characters in 1 or 2 movies, I assume, near the end of this, if they even decide that there will be an end. Anyway, my overarching point here is, oh my God, there's so many fucking movies. Oh my God, there's so much to this. It's overwhelming. And yet, every time one of these movies comes out, every time I say this or I think this, damn it if they don't always get me by producing a good movie. And Ant-Man was really, really good. I really, really enjoyed it, despite the fact that I don't know shit about the backstory to Ant-Man. Despite the fact that some parts of the movie just seem so far-fetched. And I don't just mean like a guy who can get into a suit and it shrinks and whatnot. I just mean like, even as the movie tried to... Like, in the movie, Paul Rudd plays the character of Scott Lang, who's just a guy getting out of prison for having pulled a heist, and then going back in and giving a bunch of this money that he stole to people who he felt like deserved it and should have it. He did a Robin Hood, and then he gets busted for it, and he goes to jail for an indeterminate amount of time. And a professor, played by Kurt Russell, a professor, I guess, a doctor, whatever, Hank Pym, who I recognize from the animated Avengers movies, and from what I know about it, as being like the original Ant-Man. He, for some reason or another, saw an article in the paper about this guy and what he did, and kept his eye on him to offer him this position to be the Ant-Man, to stop some other guy, some protege of Pym's, who has basically tried to recreate what Hank Pym had made with his suit in a new suit, but to use it for military purposes, and to have this amazing army of miniature soldiers who can fly around and have super strength and all these abilities, and they can win the wars and police the world and take care of everything. And of course, shit would never go down that way. It would end up falling into the wrong hands, and the bad guys or the terrorists or the communists or whatever would get their hands on that technology as well. So it's like the nuclear bomb and all kinds of other things that have come up in the past. People are always like, oh, wait a second, this is too much. I shouldn't have done this. I got to hide this and bury this. So this protege guy is making his own version of the technology. And so Hank Pym himself says, I'm going to pick this guy who's getting out of jail and who's trying to reclaim his life and get back into his daughter's world. And I'm going to have him go and steal the other guy's technology so that we can destroy it, so that it won't lead us down this path of mega destruction. And that's your movie. And it was really well done. The action was great. There was lots of humor in it. Another great staple these days of anything that comes like from Marvel, or even like from Disney when it comes to the new Star Wars movie and a lot of other ones. Great usage of humor during dramatic scenes, action scenes, whatever. I really, really enjoyed the way that they melded all that together into a really good experience. And as somebody who doesn't know shit about Ant-Man, I didn't really need to know shit about Ant-Man when I watched this movie. It kind of told me what it needed to tell me. It introduced and dabbled the Avengers thing in front of it. And it even went so far as at the end, the little scene that happens at the end, you pretty much know they're talking about Ant-Man. And they still had a thing on the screen that said Ant-Man will return. Well, it's like, no shit. Ant-Man's going to return. But in the end of the day, regardless of my knowledge or lack of knowledge about these characters, despite the fact that I think we're drowning in Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, they still come along and they're really freaking good. And I guess that's my biggest takeaway from this. It's yet another movie that I'm going to have to buy now, that I passed over because I was like, oh, I don't know. It'll probably be stupid. And it ended up being really good. So bravo to you, Marvel. Bravo to those of you who are in charge over there and are making these movies. If you ever, so far, of all the Marvel movies that I've seen, none of them were a massive steaming pile of poo. If they ever dump one of those in the middle of all this, then we might be talking about an issue. But as long as these movies keep coming out and they're pretty damn good quality, I guess they can go as long as they want. One thing I would say about this movie, and I think I think it's a positive. This could have had no mention of the Avengers, and no mention whatsoever of any other comic book characters from that universe. If this had just been a movie about a guy who had this suit and had these abilities, it would have been just as good. Yes, the Marvel thing kind of looms over the top of it, and if you're a fan of the Marvel stuff, then you're going to be a little more giddy about this because it takes place in that universe. But if you strip away all that stuff, it still is a very enjoyable action movie. And I guess the Marvel thing for now is the icing on the cake. So that's my thoughts about Ant-Man. I'm a little surprised and not surprised that it was pretty good and that I enjoyed it. But I hope we never reach that point where another Marvel movie comes along and it's just utter crap and everybody's like, when is this ever going to end? But in the meantime, thank you for watching this video. I hope you liked it, and I'll see you again soon because I got a shit ton of movies still to watch coming up anytime now. So, see you then.